Success was in us all along. We just needed a change in our perspective. On today's Oberon Divination. Greetings, everyone. I'm Oberon, Lord of the Underworld and consort to the most lovely Hecate. Thank you for joining me on today's Elemental Synastry reading. It is a divination technique which was given to me by the goddess upon our sacred marriage. It involves the tarot, the 5 elements, and astrology. Now this is a timeless collective reading, and take what resonates and discard what doesn't. And as always, tarot should be used for intuitive confirmation and not necessarily to be taken as literal advice. So I draw a tarot card to see what is influencing each of the elements. And we start off with the element of spirit, which is represented by the bell. So, what is happening in the element of spirit, love? Okay, so we have the 8 of Wands. So there is something which is about to manifest with great speed. There is something coming in which will be rather transformative. Either a new opportunity, perhaps a new relationship, perhaps maybe just kind of some type of good news coming our way. And it will come in with a lot of quickness. It will come in and sort of take us by surprise. Perhaps a surprise phone call, perhaps a surprise email or a text or something. So something is definitely happening in spirit. So what I do is I roll the astrology die to see what either the advice is or the likely outcome is. And let's see, what do we have? So we have the sun in Virgo in the 4th house. All right, so this looks to deal something with the family or the household in some way. Okay, there is going to be some type of quick news or transformation happening within the realm of our family. All right, so I roll first for the house, and then I roll a second time for the decan. All right, we're in the 3rd decan of Virgo. Interesting. Okay, so what this would suggest is the 3rd decan of Virgo is the Lord of Wealth, and basically it's that ultimate abundance. It is having it all. It is being not only having a lot of money, but having a family. And it's interesting that it's in the 4th house as well. So it could not necessarily mean, let's say, children per se, although it could as well. It could mean children. It could mean perhaps a new relationship, a new household, and also having that material abundance as well. That dream job. It's when everything falls into place, and it's about leaving a legacy. So the fact that it's in the 4th house definitely has a lot of that familial influence coming in too. And this is the sun. So with the sun influencing that, it would have to deal with us as individuals. So some of us may be experiencing a quick turning of fortune rather soon. And of course, it could also be in the spiritual realm as well, because Pentacles, or I should say Virgo, which is the element of earth, and earth is represented by Pentacles, that Pentacle energy can also be spiritual wealth. And so maybe there's going to be not only this material wealth, which will quickly manifest, but perhaps even a spiritual epiphany, some type of spiritual revelation happening regarding how we view our relations to our family, or even what we view as family as well. But whatever is happening, it is going to come with such quickness, and it is going to happen with such abundance that it will kind of catch us by surprise. And all of this is manifesting in spirit right now. So essentially, spirit is saying, I've got your back. And yeah, you will see the tides turn for you. You will see that abundance come in, and that wealth. Excellent. Wow. Okay, let's move right along to the next element. So the next one is the element of fire, which is represented by the wand. It represents our drive, the human spirit, our focus and directed energies. And let's see, what is influencing fire? Okay. Yeah, generally I try not to read too much into this first element, the spirit element, but this one's kind of popping out. So I'm curious to see what these other elements have to say. The world. Wow. Okay. So that would definitely make a lot of sense that it's the world coming in to influence our fire. So essentially, our drives, our ambitions, our hard work, our focused energies, all of that is going to pay off. And of course, with this third decan of Virgo energy coming in too, why wouldn't it? So the world is also represented by Saturn in astrology, and essentially we have the world in the palm of our hands when we learn those lessons of Saturn, when we master not only let's say the very abstract ideals which flow through our mind, but also being able to manifest those in physical form. And of course, that Saturnian energy says that we have learned the lessons. It's also very, very reminiscent of last week's reading, where we also had Saturn influencing the abundance coming into our lives. So whatever is happening in spirit right now, and it seems to be that yes, we have learned the lessons that we needed to learn, and now we are going to be rewarded. Now the pathways are opened up for our hard work, for our focused energies, for all of our trials and tribulations to be at an end, and we can finally move on, and we can finally start seeing this abundance begin to manifest. Excellent. Okay, let's see what the astrology die have to say. All right, we have the South Node in Scorpio in the 5th house. Okay. South Node in Scorpio in the 5th house. And let's re-roll for the decan. Oops. Okay. Alright, so we have the middle decan of Scorpio. We have the middle decan of Scorpio, which is that 6 of Cups energy. So, okay, very interesting that it's in combination with that South Node. And yeah, okay, so there's a lot of nostalgia associated with that particular decan of Scorpio. And that's why I said it's very interesting that it's associated with the South Node, because of course the South Node refers to either our past lives, or it could even mean perhaps our less aware days, or it could even be associated with our youth in certain times. So the fact that, you know, we have both of this, this nostalgia and this past lives and sort of youth-oriented energies associated with that. So what I'm getting from this, especially with it being in the house of Leo, with it being in that 5th house, is that it's saying to remember the good times and to be a bit more lighthearted and playful. Really sort of manifests that King of Wands energy, that showmanship type of energy. And yeah, and again with the Wands here in the first card too, we have you know, that 8 with that mastery, the 8 with that powerhouse, and then we also have this Leo energy too. It's sort of that master manifester energy, that master manifestation. And really the lesson here again is to be a bit more playful, is to be a bit more, not take everything so seriously. You know, we've already done the hard work, and the world is right there. So it's really just about remembering that hard work, remembering where you came from, and going into the future with a more uplifting and positive attitude, with a more sort of playfulness, like I was saying earlier, associated with that. Have fun with what you're doing, because you know, we have all this abundance coming in. It's like you can already see light at the end of the tunnel. You know it's there. You just got to keep on doing what you're doing. You just got to keep on focusing that energy. Don't forget where you came from, and just proceed forward with gratitude, with playfulness, with charm, and just enjoy the process as it begins to unfold. All right, so let's move along to the element of air, which is represented by the swords. Has to deal with either our communications or, you know, our intellectual pursuits and whatnot. What does the element of air have to say? What is it being influenced by? Okay, love, what is your wisdom? Oh, interesting. Okay. So we have the inverted Ten of Cups. And yeah. So perhaps there is something, maybe we're feeling a bit of impatience, because even though we know that this is coming our way, it's not here right now. It's about to manifest, but it's not quite there. And perhaps seeing that sort of juxtaposition of those two energies maybe perhaps gives us a little bit of a cognitive dissonance, and it's coming across in our communications, our day-to-day communications. Or perhaps maybe it could also mean that because of not quite being there yet, that it could be messing with our mind a little bit, quite literally, because, you know, air is also our intellectual pursuits. Perhaps we're not thinking as clearly as we need to because again, we're not quite there yet. And yeah, that's quite understandable, especially if we've been working really hard towards something, and perhaps maybe we're still struggling a little bit more than we would like to. And so, of course, you know, that impatience starts to build a little bit. And yeah, all right, let's see what the astrology die have to say to that. Okay, so we have Venus in Aquarius in the 5th house. All right, so some more Leo energy. Let's see what decan we're in. Okay, 9. All right, so we have a conjunction. Excuse me real quick. We have a conjunction with air and fire. And when we have the conjunctions in elemental synastry, it means that those two elements are combining to sort of morph into something more which is greater than the sum of their parts. And so Venus in Aquarius, I should say the third decan of Aquarius. Okay, all right, so that would explain a lot too. Yeah. Okay, so that third decan of Aquarius has to deal with a lot of deceit. Yeah, the Lord of unstable effort. And it would suggest that since it's influenced by the moon, it would suggest that we probably need to examine maybe perhaps our hidden motives a little bit more. There are probably certain things which we need to bring to the light of day, certain things in our unconscious mind that we need to reckon with. And with Venus influencing that, yeah, it could also suggest that perhaps when you combine that Lord of unstable effort with the energy of Venus, it would suggest that Venus is more in a position to sort of coddle us. It's not necessarily, let's say, the Venus in her full Empress energy or whatnot. It's more of like the let's say the overbearing mother or something like that. And so definitely look towards more of those sort of hidden feminine energies which could help explain this impatience in the element of air. Look towards I would say if you're male, you're probably going to want to look into a little bit more shadow integration with your feminine side. And if you're a woman, definitely look more again into that unconscious mind and really look into sort of those hidden motives. Are we being completely honest with ourselves? Are we communicating, and this goes for everyone, are we communicating what we need to communicate? Or are we still kind of lying to ourselves in some way? And perhaps in being the most honest with ourselves, we'll find a lot of this frustration kind of coming to a little bit more of a standstill, and we'll be able to open up the energies to be able to allow this world energy to come in. So yeah, I would even say with the conjunction here, because we also have this south node and this nostalgia happening, it could do a lot with our past. It could even do a lot with how we feel towards our mothers as well. So definitely look into a lot of those types of issues. Ask within ourselves, what are those unresolved feelings that we may have towards our feminine psyche or towards our mothers in particular, which may kind of cause this to cause a little bit more of that frustration, cause a little bit more of that disrupted joy. All right, because spirit wants to give it to us. It wants to give us the world, and right now it seems like seems like the only thing which may be holding us back a little bit is our own minds. So learning to release a lot of that can help us out as well. Release a lot of that past energy which no longer serves us. All right, let's move along to the element of Earth, represented by the Pentacles. And Pentacle can represent spiritual or material wealth. All right. Very interesting so far. Let's see. What is influencing the element of Earth? Okay, there we go. Now it's starting to shape up a little bit. So, when we have Temperance in reverse, well, it means, it could mean an excess. It could mean, sort of spinning out of control. It can even mean a type of fanaticism as well. Perhaps we are adhering too much to past beliefs. It could mean that we are that we could even be squandering resources, especially with it being the pentacle that it's influencing. So pretty much when it comes down to either our financial or our spiritual resources, these are the things which we haven't quite mastered. Like, let's say we have the willpower, we have the lessons learned, except that we still have certain issues which need to clear up a little bit before we can fully get this wealth to manifest. Yeah, all right. Let's see what the astrology die have to say to that. What is your wisdom, love? All right. Jupiter in Gemini in the 9th house. Okay. Very interesting. So, lots of Sagittarius energy with that Temperance, and also with Jupiter influencing it. Yeah. Okay. Oh, and let's re-roll for the decan. All right. So we got the first decan of Gemini. So that is restriction. That is being trapped by constructs of our own design within our mind. And with it being in the 9th house, and with it, yeah. Okay, so it's essentially saying that we need to expand from those restrictions. We need to break out of our comfort zone. Perhaps, so there's a couple things associated with Sagittarius. Travel, higher learning, those types of pursuits. And any of the ways in which we can expand beyond, like I was saying earlier, our normal comfort zone. And it would suggest that our habits and what we've been doing in the past is what's keeping this temperance energy inverted. Yeah, and I would say, especially with how this reading is shaping up, it has to deal more with let's say a fanatic type of perspective rather than going to excess. Unless, of course, that excess is fanaticism. But really, it would suggest that we are a little bit too dogmatic in how we've been approaching things, and it's having that very restrictive, that very narrow-minded view towards either money or towards perhaps religion or spirituality, which is keeping us in that mode. So again, break out of that comfort zone. This really feels like a call to expand our understanding and awareness. especially when it comes to either spiritual or financial matters. Perhaps it might be a good time to consult with a financial advisor. Perhaps it might be a good time to I don't know, maybe go to confession, or expand on the ways in which we view spirit as well. Because right now, it would suggest that we are very much sort of in our own box. And again, there's a lot of wealth waiting for us. That there's a lot of legacy waiting for us that Spirit wants to give us. But there are, and yes, we have mastered certain things, but there are still other things that we need to really sort of get under our belt. All right, let's move along to the next element. I should say the last element. Which is water, and that is represented by the cups. So it could represent our emotions, our intuition, gut feelings, those types of things. What does water have to tell us? What is influencing the element of water? Okay. So the inverted Empress. Here, let me put these cards elsewhere. So on an emotional level, that inverted Empress, it would also say that on an emotional level, we have a type of a stall in our development. We have we are blocked in, let's say, our emotional development. Perhaps we are a little bit too reactive right now. Perhaps we're a little bit short-tempered, and especially with it being in the cups. Also, perhaps maybe we're experiencing a lot of blockages in our intuition. But either way, we definitely need to, I would say for this particular reading, we definitely need to start with the emotions and sort of work our way backwards, because that seems to be the root of it, is that our emotional state is really keeping us from being able to progress with the element of earth and the element of air. From spirit to fire, it's saying, okay, all systems go. But at that base, that emotional base, there seems to be a lot of blockages. And that base is also what is sort of, I guess you could say, trickling upwards and affecting how we view earth and air. Okay, let's see what the astrology die have to say to that. So we have Mars in Sagittarius in the 10th house. Okay, a lot of Sagittarius energy. All right, let's re-roll for the decan. Okay, 5. Oh, that's a Sagittarius, not Libra. Let me get it back. There we go. Okay, so we got the middle decan of Sagittarius. All right. Yeah, that would actually make a lot of sense. So that middle decan is the Lord of great strength, and it's also being influenced by Mars, and it's also in the 10th house, which has to relate to our careers and our status and things of that nature. So it would suggest that on an emotional level, we've been in excuse me, we've been having to fight to excuse me again, we've been having to really put up a struggle in a fight for everything that we've earned. And that struggle and that fight has really made our emotions, has really exhausted our emotions. And of course, when we're not at our best emotionally, it would make sense that perhaps, we may be clinging to sort of outmoded belief systems. We may be feeling disgruntled in our communication and our intellectual pursuits. Yeah, it really makes a lot of sense. And it all seems to stem from how I was saying earlier before the astrology die even came out. It all seems to stem from that emotional state. So yeah, it seems like right here in this particular instance, Mars is being very stubborn. We're getting the stubborn version of Mars. We're getting the reluctant to change type of version of Mars because we've had to fight. We've had to really struggle, and we've had to say, look, I've had to really hold my ground with whatever I've been through recently. And again, it's left us emotionally exhausted. It's left us emotionally drained. And yeah, especially when it comes to our jobs and careers. So that definitely would suggest that perhaps I wouldn't necessarily say, it's time to change jobs, but I would say what is happening at work or what is happening in our careers that is allowing us to be so emotionally drained. Is it the work? Is it the money? Is it the coworkers? What is it? What is it that's causing us to have our energies depleted so that it's actually causing an imbalance with the rest of everything else? And it's interesting that, especially in the first half of the reading, like we have all this abundance coming in. So perhaps, yeah, it could suggest that we've been working so hard for so long that we're just frazzled from it. And perhaps maybe a little bit of money got stashed away. We know that the light at the end of the tunnel is there, but it still feels like it's so far off. But again, I would say really address those issues. If we look back, let's see, back to here, that sort of disrupted joy in our communication had to deal with looking towards, let's say, the feminine aspects of our psyche. And that would also make sense because of this inverted Empress as well. So yeah, I would say really look into the root causes of this emotional of that emotional fatigue. Is it really the work? Or is it something deeper? Yeah, and again, so the root causes with here, and then also looking towards perhaps our own beliefs, either towards spirituality or even finances, which would seem that we're being a bit dogmatic and a bit obtuse when it comes to certain things as well. So yeah, these are all connected. Let's see. Okay, not quite there. How about here? Not there either. And yeah, okay. So we have no other aspects forming except for this conjunction, which would actually place even more emphasis on that conjunction. Spirit's really trying to say, okay, look at the element of fire and air, because those are also major players in this. We have almost this sort of juxtaposition of energies. On one hand, maybe we could be in a successful career, but it's an unfulfilling successful career as well. And that's also what's kind of igniting all these other emotions. Or I should say, all these other feelings and all these other thoughts as well. But again, as we look back to the initial reading with Spirit, it's suggesting that whatever we're going through, we're going to be out of it pretty quick. So even though it may feel like it's a long way off, perhaps the answers that we need are going to come to us a lot quicker than we realize. Perhaps we're going to realize that maybe the answers that we need are pretty much within ourselves, and it's not really an external factor that has to change, but rather it's an internal factor. And if we could change that internal factor and change how we view our situations, then perhaps maybe all of this will fall into place, and it will begin to heal itself, so to speak. Okay, so I think I'm going to go into the extended reading from here. If you're interested in the extended reading, it's available on my Discord server. And right now, the first 100 people to join my Discord server will be able to get all the extended readings they want for free. And then after those 100 slots are filled up, it'll be available through subscription only. So yeah, if you want the extended reading, head on over to my Discord and I will assign you a special role. We have a lot of roles left to give out, and yeah, hope to see you there. Okay, so thank you for joining me on today's reading. If you resonate with it, then please let me know by liking, subscribing, sharing, and perhaps even leaving a comment, and let us all know how you've resonated with this reading. All right, thanks again, and may Hecate illuminate your path and guide you at the crossroads.